Hello friends, hope you are doing well. So this is the part 2 of Manage Applications in Power BI. If you have not seen the part 1, please I recommend you to see the part 1 before you see this particular video. Because in the part 1 we basically explained the whole context of manage aggregations in Power BI, and we covered the basics, and we also created the scenario in which we used one table for manage aggregations and how to manage that table so that the cache gets hit. And we saw many scenarios where the cache wasn't getting hit or the cache was getting hit based on the aggregation we were using. So in this particular video we are going to cover the next level in which we'll create two aggregated tables. So in part 1 we saw the scenario with one aggregated table. Here we will create two aggregated tables. So before I jump into showing you the demo, let me define a scenario for where we will use the two aggregation tables. So think of a scenario where in your company you want to show one kind of report for the top level management. So for them you will keep very high level aggregations and very few aggregations, because generally management is focused only on the high level data. They just want to see the trend, not the underlying data or very detailed data. So they would be focusing on few KPIs, say 3 or 4 KPIs. So around those KPIs they would be seeing few basic aggregations, be it a trend line or a higher level number of sales or sales on year on year, such kind of things. So what you will do is you will create an aggregation table which will serve the report for the management. So in that table you will create few aggregations, maybe 5 to 10 max aggregations, and then what you will do is that obviously will contain around few thousand rows. So that will be one table of aggregation. So now let us define another scenario, or let us come to the another level. Suppose you have created the same report which is serving the management also, and now in the same report you also want to show the dashboard to the middle level management. So for them you have created a second aggregation table in which you have added few detailed rows, and you have created few extra aggregations which show the details or trend lines or something kind of. So little more aggregations as compared to the aggregations which you were showing to the higher level, top level management. So in this, obviously you will create 10 to 20 aggregations, and it will contain few thousands of rows, or maybe crossing 1 lakh rows. So in this kind of scenario you will create second aggregation table. And then we come to the third scenario where you are showing the same dashboard to the development team, the core team which is working on the product. So they want to see the underlying detailed data. So for them, obviously you will want that, you don't want to import the whole data into Power BI. So what you will do is you will keep them open to hit the direct query source. So if they want to see the direct underlying data, so they will obviously build a visual and the query will go to the underlying data source. So this is the scenario in which we have three layers: the first layer for top level management, the second layer for middle level management, and the third layer is for the core development team or any other guy or support guy who wants to see the underlying data. So now as we saw in the scenario 1, so we created one aggregation table. Suppose that aggregation table is for the top level management. So now we'll create a second aggregation table, and now we'll define few extra aggregations. So in our scenario we'll create one more extra aggregation. So we'll see how the cache is getting hit based on the second table, and how then the query is going to the underlying data source. So let's get started. So friends, let us create another aggregation table. If you remember, in the part 1 we created one aggregation table. Now we'll create another aggregation table on top of Fact Internet Sales table. So what I will do is I will open the query editor. Okay, so now the query editor is open, and now you can see the query editor on my screen. So what we'll do is we'll start creating the second aggregation table on top of the Fact Internet Sales table. So we'll follow the same steps as we followed in part 1. We'll go to new source. You will connect to the SQL server. You will select the Fact Internet Sales table in the import mode as we did in the part 1. So since I have already created the second aggregation table, so I will walk you through that. So you can see this particular table, which is the sales promotion table. If you just go to the underlying steps, what I have done is I have connected to the database. I have selected the Fact Internet Sales table. I have again expanded the product table to get the product subcategory key as we same did it in the sales aggregation table also. Then I have created group by statements. We have created aggregations using group by, and let's now explore or deep dive into what extra aggregations I have created as compared to the sales aggregation table. So here now you can see that the first three aggregations are the same as we had in sales aggregation table. I have created one extra aggregation which is based on the promotion key. So I have added one extra group by statement on the fact internet sales table. Now we are doing the same, exactly same aggregations. The four aggregations, we did the sum of the sales amount, we did the sum of unit price, then the count rows of unit price and the sales count. So these four aggregations are exactly the same. The only difference is we have added the extra group by clause using the promotion key. So let me just close this, and the next step is I have just changed the data type so as to match the underlying data type. If you remember in the last video, I explained that if you are doing the operations such as sum, min, max, so the columns should have the same data type as the underlying columns. So in this we will keep the columns as decimal number, and for the aggregations like count rows, we will keep the data type as whole number. So this table is now ready. So now let's get back to the Power BI desktop and see how to introduce that particular table into the aggregation and how to use that. So we'll define the aggregations for that, but for this particular table. So let's now switch to the Power BI desktop. Okay friends, so now as you can see on my screen, I have switched to Power BI desktop and I have switched to the relationship view. So now you can see this particular table, sales promotion, and this is the previous table which we created in part 1. So now you know the second step. Now we will define the relationships with the dimension tables for this particular aggregation table. So now what we'll do is, since I have already created the relationships, so I will take you all the relationships which I have created. So if you remember in the part 1 for this particular table, we had 3 group by clauses. So that's why we had 3 relationships. Now in this particular table, we have added one extra group by clause which was based on promotion key. So that's why there is one extra relationship apart from the existing 3 relationships. So the existing 3 relationships are exactly the same as we had for sales aggregation table, that is with the product subcategory key, with the dim product subcategory table. This is the order date key with the dim date table, and then this is the customer key with the dim customer table. So now one extra relationship is with the dim promotion table based on the promotion key. So now if we just scroll on the right, and you can see the dim promotion table, and this is the relationship. And you can see that if I select this particular table, we go to the advanced option, this table is also in dual mode. So we have set this table to dual mode, if you remember in part 1. So that we have to set the dimension to dual mode, so that if the cache is getting hit, it acts as an import mode table, otherwise it acts as a direct query source table. So we have to set the table to dual mode, and this particular table, the aggregated table, is in the import mode. So now our relationships are defined. Now if you remember, we go to the second step of defining the aggregations, the manage aggregations window. So let's right click and define the manage aggregations. Okay, so now the window is open. Now friends, as you can see that we have multiple options to select. So let me again select the previous aggregation table, the first aggregation table. Now let me also define what this precedence is before we move further of defining the relationships. So this precedence is exactly the scenario which I told you. Remember, I told you the scenario in which the first aggregation table would be used for the top level management. So we want that the report should hit this particular table first. Then if it doesn't find the aggregation, then it should come to the second table, which is sales promotion, and then it should go to the underlying data query source, which is the third option. Now you can have more than 2 tables. So what you can do is, the highest number you will set for the top level table which you want to get hit first. So I have set the precedence to 1 since I have only 2 tables. So I have given the precedence 1 to the first table, which I want that this table should be hit first in the cache. Then coming to the second table, I have defined the precedence as 0. So if you have more than 2 tables, you can define the precedence as 2, 1, 0, 10, 5, 0. So whatever number you give, the highest precedence you should give to the table which you want that this particular table should be hit first. So now we come to defining the relationships within the dimension model. So these are exactly the same. So I have selected, if you go back to the previous table, you saw all these aggregations. So now I have also defined the same for the sales promotion table. So this is the missing one which was for the distinct count case. So let me define it again. So you will define it group by clause, you will select the fact internet sales table, and you will select the customer key. So rest all the aggregations are exactly the same as they were present in the sales aggregation table. The group by clause with the promotion key, then the sales count table rows, sum of sales amount, sum of unit price count. So this is the exact same relationship which we also defined in the sales aggregation table. So now since we have already defined it, so let me cancel it, and now let's switch to the demo to see whether how the aggregations are getting hit. So in this case, we will only use the DAX Studio to show you the DAX query, the underlying DAX query which will fire if we build a particular visual and see whether the match is found or not. So let's switch to the DAX Studio now. So as you can see that I have already written the query. So let me just define you the syntax for this query. We are doing the summarize columns function. We are defining aggregations. So we are doing it on the English promotion names. So if you remember, we have already defined this particular dimension or the group by clause within the aggregation table. We have taken the dim promotion key in our aggregation table, and we have also defined the relationship with this particular table. So we are taking the English promotion name, and based on English promotion name, we are doing the sum of fact internet sales amount. So based on this scenario, let's see what happens. Okay friends, so let's select this query and let's now run this query and let's see what happens. So I'll select this query and press the run button. As you can see that the query was very fast and we can see the match found. And you can also see that the match was found based on the sales promotion table. Since we had defined this kind of relationship within the sales promotion table, the aggregation table, and we also define the relationship with the dim promotion table based on the promotion key. So that's why the cache was hit and the query wasn't sent to the underlying data source. So now if you use any other aggregation which is not present in the table, then obviously the query will go to the data source, which exactly what we saw in the part 1. So friends, this was a scenario which I wanted to explain you, in which we have more than one aggregation table. So friends, with this we come to the end of this video. If you have any kind of questions or any queries related to the part 1 or part 2, please post it to the comment section and I will try my best to answer your questions. So see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.